Welcome to Collector's Corner, the premier digital art platform.
We help collectors gain and maintain their edge, all while appreciating beautiful art.
Let's jump in. Hello, friends. Welcome to another episode of Cornering the Market from Collector's Corner, your every 2-week currently update on the generative art market. Unfortunately, we've had to drop to every 2 weeks. The market's been tough, but things are getting better. So hopefully this all changes. My name is P. You may know me online as Astum. Here is my Twitter account. If you want to give me a follow at AstumCloud. I'm also founder of Collector's Corner Premium, which is a paid service to help really serious collectors, or honestly folks who just want to get the best stuff at a cheap price, and also those who are investing, because this is how this market works. Joined by my great friend and co-host, Jared_Paz, seen here, his Twitter account, also the founder of multiple art-related companies, the 8nap brand, 8nap Digital Asset Fund, if you want to get exposure as a limited partner to the generative art market and the Web3 art market more broadly, and founder of the 8nap Art platform, which is going to be and is a very innovative art release platform. How are you doing today, Jared? Sorry for the long intro, but I wanted to give you the proper shout out.
I love it. I'm doing really well, man. I feel like I haven't been sleeping lately, which is an issue, but overall, super excited for the space, which we'll talk about in the sentiment check. But doing awesome. Thanks.
Awesome. And here's our Substack. These days, starting this week, I've been doing some daily updates. It's on the Substack. It's also on my Twitter. If you like them, please give them a like and a retweet. It really helps me. And check out these daily updates, keeping you up to date as we go to every other week for these weeklies. But really excited about that. And I mentioned the Collector's Corner Premium. The community is buzzing. I really think that we got the best place to keep up with art market, bar none. So if you're interested in that, reach out. I have some links for that as well. And here's our Twitter. Give us a like and follow. All that out of the way, let's get to some art. Jared, what's the vibe? What's the vibe right now in the market?
I'm super bullish, not just because ETH's ripping or broke 2000. I'm bullish because I believe that, cautiously bullish still, but like we'll say like 70% on the bullish side. I believe what we're seeing in the PFP markets when money rotates in and you see these like really high double-digit, triple-digit returns, when that gets reallocated or rebalanced or focused on the art market, I think you're going to see something that's just absolutely meteoric. Now, is that next week or 6 months from now? I don't know. I just think with some of the supply constraints on these art projects, it's going to create a really, really interesting dynamic that I'm really looking forward to. And I think it'll be fun to be a part of it and watch. But yeah, overall, just seeing it's kind of crazy. Like last week we didn't do an episode, but there was a low volume in squiggles. This week it's back up. I feel like there's a tension, and even with somebody like Gordon Gunner being rotating in and buying a bunch, like a very nice punk, like it feels like there's a tension. The Simpsons episode, it's getting the right attention at the right time, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I think it's really interesting. It's not really a topic of this podcast, but to see the move into PFPs and into PFPs first. And like as a general framework, I think that when you see a market rise like this, and by that I mean Bitcoin and Ethereum rising in price, but then you kind of would expect that other NFTs would drop in price because now their US dollar value has gone up, but some of them move up. CryptoPunks, we'll talk about this, I'm sure, but they're up to a 53 Ether floor. They were at 43 just like 2 weeks ago, maybe 15, 16 days ago. And so what you're seeing happen, and what I anticipate will happen with the art side, is that you're going to see the collections that people really want will move first, because they were just waiting for a change in sentiment, not a lower price. Now the sentiment is changing, and you probably see some collections that folks unfortunately don't like as much get sold off, perhaps in wrapped ETH bids, as people want to reallocate and not miss the market. But I mean, generally the bullishness is, you probably hear it in my voice, seeing it all over Discords, and we'll talk about Trichro-matic that just released, but that really helped, I think, show that the art side is quite bullish still, even though we haven't seen a ton of movement in older art collections yet. So super hyped for it. Let's go right into the Ethereum Gen Art update. What do you got for us, Jared? What's been going on the
Yeah,
last
I
week?
think arguably the deal of the last 7 days for sure, and might even argue of 2023 was 100 ETH Fidenza sale for a spiral. I know it's a lot of money for a lot of people, but I mean, a spiral has not traded in the hundreds for some time. I mean, the last sales have been in the 200 to 300 range. So, I mean, that's something of note. I just think it was an absolute great buy. Congrats to the buyer and seller. I think something else that was noted is a wallet picked up 2 ringers, and they've been putting together a pretty aggressive collection, which is nice to see. The Winds of Yawanawa, they're holding the 7 ETH floor pretty tight, but I'm seeing the volume decrease down to 300. So the last 4 weeks have been 3,000, 1,700, and now down to 300. So really curious to see, how this plays out. I have a few targets myself, and then Beeple, there's a buyer that came in and bought a bunch of Beeple this week. So that was cool to see. Snowfroze /3/, had a 153 ETH of 7-day volume. So staying strong there with a 0.5 ETH floor. And then, Life in West America had 5 sales this week. It feels like there's like you kind of alluded to in the sentiment check, people are placing their Ethereum bets on what I feel are high conviction, less risk art.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm tracking a lot of these metrics to fantastic overview, and well, more than overview, deep dive into the main things going on there. To me, the takeaway is that these considered higher end Grail collections have really not moved, right? We haven't seen a string of Fidenza sales. If you remember, we saw a bunch a few months ago when the Sotheby's auction was going on for the Goose Ringer. And we're not seeing that from the upper end, even from Squiggles, which we'll get to in a second. So I just don't think the market has really started moving yet. The rotation hasn't happened into art, but I really think that seeing what happened with Trichro-matic shows you that the demand is there for that. So I think it's just honestly a matter of time. And we'll get to Squiggles, but like they have very quietly crept up. It's almost an ether floor. The floor is almost an ether higher than it was just a week ago. But I don't think people have really truly noticed. And encouraging to see some collections like Life in West America, Reworld by Rope Ranisto, some news there, but seeing them pump. I think, I really just think the market is showing you what it likes, and the first movers are the ones that the market likes. And Winds of Yawanawa, I'm really impressed that it's holding up, honestly. To your point, volume's drying up, so maybe it dips a bit, but the percentage listed are also going down in a lot of these collections. So, it's really encouraging to see some fantastic art come out and buck the trend of the bear market. It can't escape the gravity of the bear market, but it's not down only. And that's, I think, really encouraging sign for the space, that it's not just about the money and the market conditions. And if you have great art, you can transcend that. That's something that's exciting for me. Let's hop over to the fxhash side. In the past 7 days, kind of fxhash has been quite anemic. Really not a ton of volume at all. I mean, we have 4 collections and 7-day volume over 1,000 Tezos, and really only one of them is significantly above, which is RGB. And almost all these sales were well below floor price, offers accepted by one seller, ironically, Galaxy RGB, named that way. So, we really just haven't seen much happening on the fxhash side, and certainly not on Tezos. We'll get to it's a little bit of an illusion, alluding to something here. What might be happening? fxhash 2.0 is around the corner, so perhaps that's impacting it. But really, my takeaway on this is that fxhash artwork is seen as even riskier than ETH artwork. And, if we're not seeing a lot of volume in squiggles, like the more safe stuff, then we shouldn't expect to see that in fxhash right away. But I imagine some of the top collections here will start to get some volume once the art markets open up. But Jared, actually, we haven't talked about this. I'm curious to hear your take on what might be happening and what might change on the fxhash side.
I hope there's a renewed interest in fxhash and it can bring some attention. But I mean, honestly, like, it's a little bit sad to see the market ripping and the art on fxhash is just kind of sitting there for the time being. That being said, I'm a big holder of Tezos art, so I'm a little bit of a bag bias, but I hope that the fxhash team can bring some new attention and eyes to the platform and really find an opportunity to advocate for. So we'll talk about that later on. But overall, I think that I just think that the Tezos blockchain is a place for new and emergent artists, and it's just really not cost effective to release collections right now. And you're seeing it. It's showing up in the volume, man.
Right. Totally. It's not the place to make money for artists, at least not right now. We'll see if that changes. Chromie Squiggles.
Yeah,
Lay
Chromie
it on us.
Squiggles. We didn't do an update last week, but it's at a 7-day volume of 174 ETH. Floor price, as you mentioned, 2 weeks ago was 8.5, and it's up to 9.29. So really nice appreciation there. Pretty thick floor, honestly. I think it's like 8 to 10 sales between there and 10 ETH. So it'll be interesting to see how well this holds up. There were 18 sales, which is a little bit below average, I would say, but it's nice to see that. The highlight for me over the last 7 days was a day zero slinky, number 279, that sold for 10.5 ETH. It was posted in Collector's Corner for the premium members really early, and it got sucked up within a few hours. So really interesting that that piece was A, listed so close to the floor, and B, it was bought up with such enthusiasm. Seeing a lot of, I'll call it, different types, not the high-end types, no bolder pipes that sold, but lots of fuzzies, slinkies, and ribs that were, I think people are starting to lean into these variants, when they're close to the floor. But the other observation I had over the last 7 days is a lot of unnamed wallets. So, and I last night in preparation for this, I kind of did some wallet snooping, and I'm really intrigued to see like what happens with a lot of the last buys. But with it, whether they get held. One of them had a substantial amount of Yuga assets that they rotated out of and bought 2 Chromie Squiggle. So just something that I'm tracking, but it always piques my interest when I see a lot of unnamed wallets picking stuff up. But other than that, I'm hoping to see more action overall. A decent week, but nothing too monumental.
Yeah, that sounds about right in terms of my feelings around Squiggles, seeing the sales feeds. Appreciate that update. As always, let's take a look at friendship bracelets, which really had quite an up week. So friendship bracelets, compared to the last 7-day period that we looked at, as you can see here on screen, they had about 38 ether in volume, and the floor price jumped up from 0.075, got as low as 0.072 actually, and now is at 0.11. The number of sales was massive, 313 compared to 68 the last time. And listings are up a little bit. They're around 1,100, and they're at 1027 last time. So I'm excited about this for a couple of reasons. One, obviously, I love friendship bracelets. I have not hidden that. I'm a holder of friendship bracelets. So, I have some bias here. Please take this with a grain of salt. But I just love the art. It's got perpetual motion, which is becoming a hotter thing these days. If you look at Winds of Yawanawa, Cargo, etc., Flamingo DAO talking about it, it is effectively the art blocks token. It is by far the most liquid and widely distributed generative art collection, and it's really great art. And you get emergent images, you get everything that you would want out of generative art. So I really like them. I'm going to talk about them a little bit more as my great art, great prices. But generally speaking, the most exciting thing perhaps of all of this is they seem to be actually working as a liquidity indicator. Like we saw these move up first, and it's too early to say, but I'm curious to see if these end up being sort of a harbinger of volume in the generative art market, certainly in the art blocks market. Too early to say, as I mentioned, but we will find out. All right, let's do some release recaps here. First, Trichro-matic by MountVitruvius released yesterday. Art blocks curated. It's got the market buzzing. 600 pieces, larger than your standard art blocks curated as of late. Minted at a resting price of 0.81, right around what we actually thought it would be. Surged up to about 2.2, 2.3 ETH floor. Now is retracing down to 1.8, 26% listed, and really widely regarded as great art and a fantastic release. Your thoughts on this one, Jared?
I think it's perfect timing. We spoke to MV a lot at Marfa about and we were able to kind of preview some of the algorithm and some of the outputs. I'm just really enamored with his work, and I think that this collection as a whole works really well together. I think that's the observation from most. I mean, perfect diversity within palettes and different traits. So, and there's even some, we'll call it non-metadata traits that start to emerge that people are collecting around. So overall, man, I think this is very well executed. Huge congrats to MV and Art Blocks. Just an absolute stellar release. Amazing algorithm. And to your point, it's been embraced by collectors and artists, which I've seen TLP, Harvey, and a few others like really give praise to MV for the algorithm. So it's always a nice sign when you see such a great project embraced by the greater community, not just one subsect or another. But awesome release.
100%. And William Apon also bought up for them, including the all-time high sales so far. So a lot of love from artists. Congrats to MV and everybody involved. Really, honestly, really a nice boost for the Art Blocks community and brand. Let's jump over to Xcopy. A couple of releases here. I wanted to recap. These were both last week, but the takeaway here, folks, is Xcopy is undefeated. Just fantastic releases as always. Algo Bro, a 1 of 42, minted at 2 ETH, all on the allow list. Saw some sales in the 7-8 ETH range. Now at 6.9. His first fully on-chain work, I'm told. Don't know everything about Xcopy there. And I'm sorry, I don't have the other one up here, but I'll pull it up in a second. That one is Remnants by Xcopy, which was his super rare release, a 1 of 250, also selling at a similar price range. And really the story here for me, the headline is that when we talk about PFPs moving, Xcopy art is moving. We have a lot of different communities and art happening now in the NFT space. I think it's gonna be really interesting to see how it plays out. But these top brand name artists, just especially Xcopy, I mean, he probably commands the most premium of anybody out there, and that's just his brand, and that's X. And other thoughts around this too. But I'll pause and just hear if you have any thoughts, Jared, on these two releases or Xcopy in general, and what this might mean for the market.
Yeah, for X, he doesn't drop a lot of work, so it's kind of interesting to see two pieces stacked upon one another, but two different markets, in my opinion. And overall, I mean, I really like Remnants. I'm not necessarily going to be buying at 6.5, but I think it's a really interesting piece that kind of blends two things that I like. It almost feels generative, and it's X. So I'm really enamored with these. I think it's you hit the nail on the head, which is X is doing amazing stuff. The market loves Xcopy, and this is, I tweeted about this, right? Like, it was amazing to see X and a few other releases at the time just like really garner a lot of attention and enthusiasm. Like, it's exciting to me, man. It's really exciting, and it's proof that great art is still going to command the right amount of attention.
Absolutely. Well said. Let's move on to our first Gen Art news story here, Jared. This is one that I've been really interested in. So fxhash 2.0, including Ethereum minting, is coming out on December 1st. In fact, the very first release, I guess it's this one, Anaglyph by Trame Communal. And this has been some time in the works. You know, I know there's a lot of folks who feel passionate about the Tezos ecosystem. There's a lot of discussion about, is art denominated on Tezos undervalued? Should it be valued more? What does it matter what chain it's on, etc.? We won't get into all of that, but know that some of these questions will be answered as fxhash allows people, artists, to mint on Tezos, excuse me, on Ethereum now, coming up with this 2.0 update, amongst other features that they're doing that are pretty cool. But I'm curious, you know, will the community rally around, you know, how much is the community fxhash and how much is it Tezos, right? And I think the artists are telling you right now that it's more about fxhash, less about which blockchain it's on. If you filter here on their, you know, you go to their Explorer and then you go to release calendar here shown on screen, you can see and filter which releases are going to be on Ethereum versus Tezos. And all but one are going to be on Ethereum, which to me tells you the artists know that if they want to make a living and do this full time, they need to consider the blockchain, because investors slash collectors truly are not fans of the potential return on Tezos. And I know that might make some Tezos folks upset. That's not really my intention here, but I think you got to kind of look at the objective reality of what's happening. And we'll see if this changes. Obviously, I don't know. But I think it would be fantastic if the fxhash ecosystem became multi-chain, and fantastic if we didn't insist that one or another chain is utilized for releasing art. But curious to hear your take on this one, Jared, as I know this is a topic that comes up frequently in the spaces.
Yeah, I think that for me, it's an interesting pivot to be for FX to be inclusive of ETH. I guess I don't particularly have an opinion one way or the other. I'm going to be more of an observer and just see what sort of effect this has, specifically because I think a lot of the core, you know, FX hash collectors are Tezos oriented. So I'm interested to see if this like grows or impacts community more so than the art. I'm really just trying to, you know, take a step back and look at like the vibe check more than anything, quite honestly.
Absolutely, absolutely. And look, I mean, this is kind of like my point. I don't think we should be Tezos oriented or ETH oriented or Solana oriented or Bitcoin oriented. I think we should be art oriented, and it really shouldn't matter where someone releases. However, because of the way pricing is done, people do care about the underlying value of the token that your art is denominated in as an investor. But as an art celebrator, I truly don't think it matters. So this will be cool. And I think it'll be interesting to see also, Jared, if we see some works that have been held back by artists who are maybe going to release on Tezos and they heard ETH is coming, to say, you know what, like, I actually think I might be able to make more money to support myself if I release this on ETH. So let me wait until ETH is live on fxhash. But maybe not. We'll see. We'll see. Second story, quick one here. We are doing our giveaway of Mapan Sketchbook A. I'll be announcing that later today. Thank you for everybody who participated. And as a reminder, the winner gets to choose 3 months of Collector's Corner Premium for free, or the Sketchbook A print. And then second place will get the other option. So I'll be reaching out to folks. Thank you for the submissions. They were fantastic. It was a tough choice. And the Collector's Corner Premium community curated the results there. So I will get those out soon. Thank you for your patience, and my apologies for the delay on that. That is on me. And also the other Gen Art news story I wanted to hop to real quick. Rope Ranisto's Reworld project was selected as 1 out of 20 highlights from JP Morgan curators at the Paris Photo Fair. Congrats to Rope on this. Actually saw potentially some front running. Somebody sweep up 6 of these before the announcement. Floor price doubled. It went from about 0.75 to 1.5. May have retraced now a bit, but love this art, love Rope, and really love the innovation with this post photography AI genre. So glad to see it getting recognized as well. And full disclosure, I actually am not a holder of these. I'm a holder of his other project, Life in West America. Some great art, great prices. You want to take these ones away, Jared?
Yeah, I just wanted I've highlighted this one before. Full disclosure, my personal wallet, I hold a number of these, but it's Metropolis IX, I assume 9 by Murat. I bring this up because it was really interesting. Last week while we were off, there was a large, but for a relatively dormant project, there's a large number of buys where it cracked into the 7-day top 10. So I just wanted to bring it up. I think that this is actually beautiful art, and that a 50 Tez floor mean, I'm looking at a couple pieces on the floor. I might go pick them up on my personal wallet again, but it's fun. It's a fun project. I think they're aesthetically pleasing on a large format. They present very well, and it was interesting to see somebody come in and buy a number of these and really kind of pay up off of the floor. So just and it was one buyer. Like one buyer came in and swept a ton of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So interesting to see that. But overall, I think it's a beautiful project. And at 50 Tez with the Tez price these days, you know, if you just want to look at something beautiful, it's not a bad place to place your Tez.
Absolutely. Love that one. And the other one you highlighted, go ahead. Love this one too.
Yeah, it's Shapes on the Plane by MountVitruvius. Obviously coming off of the success of Trichro-matic. I think that this one, even I saw Von Mises tweet about Render's game. A lot of the art block stuff is getting attention, and I don't know if this one flies under the radar or what. I hadn't seen a lot of sales, but I think it's a really beautiful project. And with a 199 Tez floor, it just kind of feels like a really good value, if that makes any sense. And I mean, there's a lot of them listed between the 2 and call it 500 range. So not financial advice. I don't think it's going to be the greatest amount of returns, but if you're looking for, if you're priced out of Trichro-matic or Render's game or anything else, there's a really great opportunity to collect here, and there's some really great pieces along the way. So I'd be remiss if I didn't at least mention
This is
Shapes on the Plane.
this is actually my second favorite collection of Mount Vitruvius's. To me, it might even be my first. It's this and Trichromatic that released are my number one. Like I just love this project. It's not a knock on the others. This is a fantastic one. So glad you brought up. But full disclosure, I think I hold 2 of them. I don't even know, not many, but I just really like this project. Maybe only one, not sure. I wanted to highlight quickly Echoes of Alhambra by Orkan and Lanka. I hope I pronounced that right. So this actually was released with Hofa DAO, who also released the Winds of Yawanawa with Rafik Anadol. But really what I like about this art, it's first of all, it's a great price, less than $500 right now. But it's got really fantastic motion, and as you watch them on screen, they kind of suck you in. So just a big fan of the way that these are done, and I like the Middle Eastern theme. We're starting to see some more art emerge that brings an aesthetic and a style from different cultures across the world, and I just think it's fascinating and love that. So wanted to highlight this one. And the second one I mentioned earlier was friendship bracelets. Friendship bracelets can be thought of in a lot of different ways, but it really, in my opinion, is beautiful art, and it has all these emergent images. So even this one sitting here on the floor, you got your bracelet circling in one way and then counter circling another way. Actually, this one's pretty unique. This almost looks like a face, Jared. But just so many good ones out there, truly, that I think it's worth taking a look at. Even if you don't want to buy one, I get it; they're not cheap, still $200, but just generative art done very well, and you see some cool emergent images. I've seen a star. I own one that looks like a fish. There's more fish. Look at this one down here, another fish one. Anyways, check it out. See if you like the art. I think that this is a unique collection in a lot of ways. Some exciting upcoming drops, as I got to get Jared out of here on time. I'm just going to boogie through a couple of these here. First is William Apon's Through Your Eyes. There are 7 1-of-1s on auction in verse starting in about 4 days. So this is on the 13th of November from the recording today. These are going to be hot. These look great, but probably will go very, very high given Williams' prominence and especially his recent success. The second one I wanted to highlight here is Graph Plus by Feral File. We have a bunch of really fantastic generative artists that are doing plotter work here. Lucia well, I won't read them all, but I want to highlight James Merrill and Iskra, who we follow closely, especially James, part of Collector's Corner Premium and a friend. These are going to be really cool. The way that Feral File works is you have to buy a set of all 6 pieces. So I don't know how often that these are or how much of these are going to sell, but I think, it's art to check out and see how you enjoy it and keep up with everything. And rounding it out, Jared, sorry, just to really want to make sure that we get you out of here on time, is Hatcher. I'm not sure how you say it, by maybe Hatcher, kind of like a plot, by Matt Delorier. This is the first release, as far as I know, since Folio. at his Bright Moments release, which is over a year ago, like a year and a half ago now. All plotter work, all based on topographic maps. Auction starts in just about an hour. Will run for until November 12th. So this is a long auction potentially. I think these will go for a really high price because Matt Delorier is so prominent, and it's kind of an interesting and unique aesthetic here. So that's all those. We'll round it off with some artists to highlight. I'll let you go first, Jared, with Richard Nadler.
Yeah, I just wanted to highlight Richard Nadler, amazing breakout artist recently this year, producing some really amazing art. Actually, in research for this last night, I went and checked out, some of his, one-of-ones and different projects, and it's been fun to like see the evolution of the work. But Richard has an upcoming release coming, so I just would be remiss if we didn't bring it to everyone's attention, because it's really unique AI inspired work. So if you're not familiar with Richard and his work, please feel free to check it out, because this is it's absolutely stunning in its own right.
Honestly, I just am sad because I think these are going to sell for too much, but I really want them. He really, in my opinion, leveled up from Yamabuchi's Horizons, and you can see the range of his aesthetic that he's able to capture now. Very beautiful work, really distinct style. Huge fan of Richard's, and very much looking forward to this new release and whatever else he comes out with in the future. And lastly, the artist that I wanted to highlight is Red Rum. So Red Rum, recently been DMing with him, really love their work. And, they remind me a little bit of the post photo AI artist, Simon Rayon, who has a pink theme going on. Everything, all his releases have a certain shade of pink that are infused in them. Now, Red Rum is very much in the red meta, but man, his art is good. And I just love the red theme here. Like, he kills it. And I wonder, like, will he ever have something blue? And I'm saying he. I'm sorry, I don't know if it's a he or she, or so we'll say they. I apologize for that. But I obviously assume most people in the crypto space are male, because most of them are. But Red Rum's work, they are just some really cool stuff here. So wanted to give them a shout out. Also, really nice person. Been DMing them, as I mentioned. And that's it, folks. That's our show. Please give us a like and a follow on Collector's Corner. Give Jared and me a follow as well. And sign up for our newsletter and give us some feedback. Want to hear what you're thinking. Yeah. Any parting words, Jared?
Just, for anybody who's anxious, check in emotionally. FOMO's a thing, and there's some really great opportunities ahead of us. Be patient and diligent, and create a plan, execute against it. If it's flipping or long-term accumulation, tons of opportunities will present itself. So just I really urge people to put their emotions in check and write down their plan.
Absolutely. That's a great point, Jared. Stay grounded. There's going to be a lot of things that are doubling, tripling, quadrupling as the bull market gets going. Don't chase things. It's just almost never worth it. You will get there. We will all get there. Just be patient, have conviction, hold your conviction plays, and let the market play out. And Jared and I are here as a resource. Our DMs are open. Seriously, anybody, hit us up. We'll get back to you. We'll help you. That's what we're here for. So with all that, thank you, everybody. We'll chat with you in a couple weeks. Check out the Substack, check out the dailies, check out Jared, and we appreciate you all. Hopefully we'll have some even better news next time around. Talk to you then. Thank you for tuning into Collector's Corner. We really appreciate you taking the time to listen. If you like this episode and want to help us out, please subscribe and leave us a review on your podcasting platform of choice, like Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and follow us on YouTube. Please also follow us on Twitter for announcements as we expand to other social and content platforms. Our Twitter handle is @collectors_XYZ. We'd also love to hear any feedback you have, so please comment or reach out. We're always striving to be more useful and get better so we can help you in your collecting journey. The Collector's Corner team and their guests are not registered investment advisors. All views expressed on this podcast are personal opinions and are not specific inducements to make particular investments or investment strategies, and should not be relied upon for investment decisions. This show is solely for informational and entertainment purposes only. Before making any financial decisions, please consult a professional.